What's up, fungal associates? Welcome to Completely Arbortrary, the podcast about trees and other related topics. I am one of your hosts. My name is Alex Crowson, and I am sitting across from the man, the legend, renowned dendrologist, Casey Clapp.
It is good to be here. Hello, everyone. If you take a look at the slides, we have 3 hours to get through today.
Hey.
It will be quite riveting.
Sounds terrible. This is you're sort of doing a character that is like anti everything we hope to do with the podcast.
Yes, Bing. That was exactly it. Congratulations.
Yeah. Casey, I'm a little nervous today. Let me tell you why.
Oh, God, why? Yeah.
I got a new audio interface.
That's right. You're okay.
A big upgrade for me.
Mm-hmm. What do you think of it?
Well, I have mixed feelings. Okay. I love it. If it worked perfectly, I would and do love it. It's an incredible piece of machinery. I got a Universal Audio Apollo Twin X for anybody who's keeping score.
Also, please reach out to us, and we will provide that as a advertisement.
Oh, yes. Well, I have a Windows machine, Casey.
Oh, that's right.
I work on Windows 11, and this mofo doesn't play all that well with Windows. It's more it's optimized for Mac, and so now I'm questioning everything. I'm considering getting a new Mac. But that's a whole thing.
It's a lot.
And it's also, Casey, our first session in Pro Tools. As I turn here and check that we're still recording, yes, I am now using Pro Tools, the industry standard digital audio workstation.
I love that you know these things. I barely even know that we're in the industry, much less what the standards are.
Well, you and I are not in the industry.
Okay, thank God.
But yeah, so there's a lot of firsts today on my end.
Yeah, we're trying a lot of new stuff on the back end.
Yes.
I see.
So I'm going to be here with you, listening and learning about trees. Yep. I'm also going to be monitoring the situation over here.
Constantly over there. Alex. Sorry, Casey. Just checking our levels.
Checking our levels every once in a while and checking that it's still recording and that nothing has crashed.
Yeah.
Casey, today we're talking about a tree, as we do every week, and this week's tree is the black Cottonwood.
Oh, the black Cottonwood.
Scientific name is... Give me a moment.
You've got it.
Something nigra?
No. Populus trichocarpa, which means the hairy-seeded populus.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Casey, I also know this is sometimes called the Western balsam poplar.
Yes, which is kind of a funny thing I learned about. I kind of always knew about it, but I was like, well, I'm going to have to figure out what they're talking about now. They actually think that it's also related or used to be a subspecies of the Populus balsifimera, which is...
Balsifimera.
Yeah, isn't that a fun... It doesn't flow, but it flows just enough that you're not like, I hate this.
That's like for any of those rappers out there, balsifimera is a good
flow
continuer.
Yeah, balsifimera, but then you have to rhyme it on either side.
Yeah.
I'm not good at it.
Balsifimera... Mall of America.
Listen,
would be
I hear you. Balsifimera. Anyway, Alex, this is exactly the tree we're talking about. Now, have you seen a black cottonwood today?
Today?
Yes.
No.
Oh, okay. Most people have. If you go outside in the Pacific Northwest, you'll probably see one. Even if you maybe don't know it, maybe if you look kind of over there and you're like, oh yeah, there's some trees. One of those is probably a black cottonwood.
Maybe I have.
Yeah, especially if you are in any place that is not like the mountainous regions, like above 5,000 feet, like alpine level.
Okay.
They grow just about everywhere. In fact, I learned, and this really stunned me, the black cottonwood grows in the same kind of latitudinal difference that the madrone, for instance, does.
Oh.
Which I always note that if you grow around, let's say the top of the world, they call those circumboreal trees.
Yeah.
Those trees, really cool, but they grow at the same latitude, way up high. So all that is pretty much the same as you go around the top of the earth. But if you are going from the top down towards the equator, you're actually going through a huge, vast, different amount of ecosystem in like ecotypes. There's different weather, it's different heat things. Everything is like way different as you go up and down as opposed to if you go around. The equator is the same pretty much everywhere around the world. Different plants, but they're all filling the same niche. Whereas this just like the madrone, grows from the southeastern Alaska. So that's kind of that little section that goes down the continent of Alaska, all the way down through Alberta. And then once it gets into Montana, it basically jumps over to the west side of the Rockies, follows that all the way to the Pacific Ocean, all the way down to Baja California, which is Mexico.
Yeah.
That's a stunning amount of like native habitat. The
That's
Douglas
a serious
fir,
range.
It is, yeah. It's a super serious range. The Douglas fir kind of does that, but as it goes down, it also goes higher in elevation because it needs kind of the same temperatures. And that's the other thing. If you go down in latitude and up in elevation, the temperatures and the weather kind of stays the same. So anyway, I learned that and I was like, wow, that's pretty stunning. I didn't know it was such a vast tree.
Casey, before we get too far ahead of ourselves,
yeah, we shouldn't get too far.
Let's imagine that you and I are walking along the several thousand miles along this coast.
We're just walking somewhere between the west side of the Cascades until we get up to about Montana. Then we switch over to the west side of the Rockies. We just keep going north.
And straight on till morning. And we come across some black cottonwoods. Casey, let's ID this tree.
Okay, so here's the big thing. Here's the big thing. It is, it's related to all the other poplars, cottonwoods, and aspens. So the genus Populus has about 35 species. Most of them, rather all of them, are split into 5 main groups. And the group that includes our black cottonwood also includes the narrow leaf cottonwood and the balsam cottonwood, which is Populus balsifimera, which grows kind of way up in the north along Canada and maybe some bits of the northern United States, essentially northern North America. So that's the other tree that they thought it was the same tree, but then they realized, they're actually different species. There's one that grows way up north but doesn't grow very far south, and then there's one on the west coast, the black cottonwood, that grows all the way south. It just keeps going. So it is a big tree. Another stunning fact that I learned, it is the biggest of all the broadleaf trees in the West.
What?
It's the biggest.
Oh.
Blew my mind.
Wow. Bigger than the beeches.
Well, the beeches aren't a Western species. They grow over in the eastern side of North America.
You're talking native species.
Yes,
okay.
Native species that are native to Western North America, which for all intents and purposes, let's say, is the Rocky Mountains west.
Okay.
So that's contending with the big leaf maple and the Oregon white oak, which are 2 trees that are nothing to sneeze at.
No, but
as
they're
well
not
as
big.
Apparently they aren't. Well, I mean, the Oregon white oak is huge. Like, it gets feet and feet in diameter. It just doesn't grow 200 feet tall.
That's true. I guess I when I think big tree, I think tall tree.
Don't you? That's what I do as well.
It's a bit of a tall bias.
We're right in the middle of our champion trees tournament. Mm-hmm. Yet I still am like, a big tree is one that is not only, like, I always think of first diameter, like the diameter of the stem, 4.5 feet up. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
The second thing I think of is how tall is that tree? Like, if you stand underneath it, can you look up and like follow the biggest branches and be like, that thing's like 100 feet up above my head right now. That's insane.
You're interested in its arbitrary ranking.
I think so. Yeah.
If you don't know what that is, go listen to the Patreon. And then come back.
Yeah, we got a lot of information. We got more coming today.
Oh yeah.
But I just, that's what I imagine. So when you think
no, sorry. I guess we talked about arbitrary rating last week.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah,
in the mainline episode.
Yeah, everyone knows about it.
Sorry, I'm a goof.
You're a real goof. You know that?
No, I prefer to be called a goose.
Oh, goose? You're a real goose.
I'm a bit of a silly goose.
You're a bit of a goose. You know that, fella? Said. Yeah, you are. You're a real goose.
But not in like an annoying way.
No, not in a way that you're just like, no. And I was like, that goose. Oh my God.
I wouldn't honk.
Yeah, thank you. You're much more refined goose.
Yeah.
Well, so this tree, it's in the willow family. And this is it's a tree that grows really huge. It grows to be maybe about 100 to 150 feet tall. It has a big, wide spreading canopy, but only when it gets really big and old, because it has a weird shape of growth. So we'll go into them. We'll look at the bark and we'll kind of talk up the tree as it's going out. So let's see. So you're from afar. You're looking at this tree. First, you're going to see it's a big tree. Obviously, it's huge. It grows with a very straight bole, just like the tulip tree, and it has big, thick bark. And we'll talk. This is a mature tree we're going to be describing.
Okay.
A young tree has really white, smooth bark, but as it gets older, its bark becomes really furrowed and ridged, where it has these gigantic big plates where it looks like alligator-ish skin to me, but not broken up horizontally. They're like long, big ridges that are flat, but very rough also. They get massive. Like, the biggest one is outside Wilsonville, or rather closer to Salem at one of the state parks. I think it's Willamette Mission State Park, and I think its diameter is like 15 feet in diameter.
Jeez.
It's huge. Like, I stood and saw it from the other side of a river or a creek, and it was just like, that's a huge tree.
Yeah.
That's mind-blowing. So they get really big. They get these deep furrows, and as you look up, the canopy usually spreads out, but interestingly, at like 30-degree angles. It doesn't grow up and like arch over. It doesn't have this sort of like this like crown that looks really pleasing, Alex. It just goes and has branches that kind of go straight up and out.
The way you describe it sort of reminds me of a eucalyptus
Yes,
shape.
I would say that's a very accurate description.
It's almost like a broomstick.
Yes,
with the broom bristles at the end. But
that's totally right.
Yeah.
The other thing that it reminds me of is an elm tree, but the American elm famously has a vase shape where the branches come up and then like arch down.
Yeah, yeah.
This would be like the next phase it's about to get to is the arch down, and it just never
keeps going
gets
up.
there. It just keeps going up.
Okay.
But then because they have that, their branches and their wood is really, really brittle. The weight of the branches that are going straight out, again, they grow really quickly and get really big really fast.
Yeah.
Then if a little bit of a wind comes or a little bit of this or that, they just drop off. They just break your branches all the time.
Oh, wow.
I mean all the time.
Okay.
In a little bit of wind, they'll just kind of like, and like throw their branches out of their canopy.
That is in line with one of the Crowson's homegrown trivia I have today.
I'm excited to hear that. I haven't looked at it. I saw that it was there, but I want to know about it. So as you're looking up, you also notice it has really deep green leaves. The leaves of these trees are generally kind of cordate, so they're a little bit heart-shaped, but more like less heart-shaped and more kind of a squished triangle.
Okay.
But they do have little lobes that kind of come back a little bit, and then they have just the tiniest little serrations at the edge, like just the teeny tiniest around the margin of the leaf. Very pointed tip, yellow mid vein and veins coming out with a dark green top. The bottom is kind of a silvery greenish with a little bit of maybe some other colors depending on how old or how messed up the leaf is. But its petiole is round. Their leaves can be really long. Like the younger ones off like a sprout can be like maybe a foot or so big. But the normal leaves are probably going to be about 4 inches, I'd say.
This is maybe the most granular you've ever gotten with the tree ID.
Really?
You're really going for it.
Well, I want everyone to know exactly how I feel about this tree, and I'm not going to skip anything.
Wow, what a tease. I mean, I think that was pretty loaded.
Yeah, it's very loaded.
That was a loaded statement.
Yeah, well.
Ooh.
Whoops.
Like a baked potato. I'm very hungry.
Okay, we're going to get through this, Alex. So the last real big thing is that their buds have imbricate scales. So they kind of fold over on top of each other. Usually it's about 6 or 7 or so.
As opposed to the type that split evenly apart from each other.
That is valvate, famously.
Valvate versus imbricate.
Yes. What do you think that would be if it was valvate versus imbricate? That feels like it would be 2 different tribes from like ancient past. The imbricates are coming.
It sounds like Dune. It sounds like some of the minor houses in Dune.
Yeah, exactly.
House Valvate and House Imbricate.
Yeah, very like caca.
That would be a funny. I would like to just hear about like the very boring goings on, like nothing
House Imbricate
intriguing happening.
Yeah. Well,
no political play happening. They're so far outside of that realm that they just like, they have like a big dinner that they have to plan for.
Drama for 3 series. The big thing about these lovely trees is their fruit and their flowers. They have, they're usually dioecious, so they have pistillate flowers that are grown in these long catkins that hang down.
Yeah.
And those are what produce the seeds. Then they have the staminate catkins. Those are the ones that grow down and produce the pollen.
They have 2 different kinds of catkins?
Yes, on 2 different kinds of trees being dioecious, 2 houses.
Oh, wait. I thought dioecious was where they both grow on the same tree.
Oh, no, that would be monoecious.
Oh, so dioecious, I see. Dioecious is there are female trees and male trees.
Correct. That's the usual way that it is explained.
Trees that produce pollen, trees that produce fruit.
Yes, and usually be the flowers. Yeah, precisely.
Flowers and fruit. Okay, yes, yeah. Flowers is the main thing.
Yeah, they're both flowers, but one produces only the stamens, and the stamens that makes the pollen. One only produces the pistils. That is what will then become the fruit.
That's the ovary that becomes the fruit.
Yes, precisely.
Got it.
So these trees then produce a little teeny tiny fruit that is a capsuled seed, and that little seed has about 1 million little teeny tiny hairs that grow off of it.
Wow.
And then when they're in like these little balls, and so the fruit is developing, and it's like a bunch of little tiny marbles. Then those marbles just kind of go whoosh and just kind of burst open. That capsule then releases 1 billion little seeds that all have these little white tufts on them of little hair, little cotton balls. And this is, of course, why we call it the cottonwood tree, because those little seeds in that bunch of cotton float around from the trees in, I don't know, about now. Late June, early July, sometimes way into late July.
Casey looked at his watch.
Yeah, guess what time it is. It's Cottonwood time.
That was a good physical bit.
Thank you. I wish people could see how good we are.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
we just light up the room, don't we, Casey? Okay, so now is Cottonwood season.
Now is Cottonwood season. If you are, or at least here in Oregon, I should say.
This is when you go to the river.
Yep.
And there's like snow drifts.
Exactly.
And they're really sticky, and they get on your bag or your dog, and you spend the next 3 weeks picking them out of your dog's fur.
That's it.
That's cottonwood.
Those are cottonwoods. Those are the seeds coming from the fruit of a cottonwood tree.
Now, Casey, when you proposed this tree, you said, and this is just a little tease, I'm not spoiling anything.
That's okay.
You said, Alex, this tree is kind of vilified. Not a lot of people like this tree.
Yes.
I'm starting to see, like when you start dating somebody and they're great at first, and then like 2 weeks in, you start to see their red flags.
So Cottonwood gets the swipe left every time?
No, Cottonwood gets the swipe right at first.
Swipe right is good.
Yes.
Okay, they get swiped right.
But then after the first 3 or 4 dates, they like treat the waiter poorly, and you're like, whoa, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
They won't invite you over to their house. This is starting to get a little red flaggy.
Start to open up about your favorite tree, and they're just like, I hate trees.
Their eyes glaze over like mine do.
Exactly. And then it's over. You either have to 100% leave or make a podcast with them. One or the other.
And this is how Casey and I met.
This is how it is. This is it. Yeah. So, Alex, this is the thing. You also noted it grows by the river. It grows in wet areas.
Okay. Riparian areas, eh?
Exactly. It is known for this, and it is everywhere. You see a river, you see a stream, well known down in the inner west. So you're on the west side of the. Actually, you don't even need to be. You can be just about anywhere in the Midwest. If you're in the Southwest, if you are in the Midwest where there are no real trees and kind of like the really big rain shadow area of the plains, then every time you see a big, gigantic tree off to the side, that is a cottonwood species. Maybe it's going to be a Fremont cottonwood. Maybe it's going to be a Eastern cottonwood. It could be a bunch of different species. But these trees grow notably and without fail in riparian areas.
Okay.
They're very good at it. So that is why they have these little tiny seeds, right? Because then they can just hit water and then whoosh, or they get blown by the air to the other side of the river, and everything is wind pollinated and then wind dispersed for these trees. Now, what everyone is saying right now, Alex, I'm sure, is they're just screaming about how allergic they are to the cottonwood. Every time they see those little puffy white things flow through, they start a sneezing.
I know where this is going.
We should probably do a break before I absolutely go off the rails.
Well, I have a whole segment to do before we do that, Casey.
Oh, you're right.
Sorry to strong arm your...
I was really giving you the opportunity to be like, hold on, Casey, don't do it, man. Don't do it.
Casey, before we get into what it will invariably be an hour of nonsense, how about some Crowson's homegrown trivia?
Oh, we need a ditty for that. She's absolutely right. Someone messaged us.
We really do.
We got to have that.
I'll work on something.
All right, and then you're going to have to put it in post-production in all the rest of any one of our homegrown trivias.
To quote Dr. Evil, how about no? Okay, so I've already noted that the...
Why have you not quoted Dr. Evil more? The last 2 episodes, the last 4. God, it's amazing.
Also called the Western balsam poplar, as we went over.
Okay.
Now, this is what I was going to say when you said that they get knocked over by nothing.
Yeah.
A light breeze will destroy one of these trees. Jenka hardness.
Oh,
we talked a lot about Jenka hardness in our Tournament of Champion trees.
We sure did. A very important aspect.
I'm not going to describe it again because I can barely get it out.
0.44 million.
Go ahead and Google it if you need. It's a hardness of the wood is what it is. 350, Casey.
Oh my God.
For anybody who doesn't know, that is extremely, extremely low.
I think that means that you could take your thumb and push it into the wood of a cottonwood.
Just about.
Wow.
I think balsa, does balsa come from balsam? Is that related?
No, I don't think they're not related.
Okay.
It's a species from the tropics.
I think balsa wood is like 50 or so.
Yeah, it's
so this is
really...
not that much stronger than balsa wood.
Jeez, yeah.
Because it's so soft, but not so soft that it just falls apart, it is easy to work with. Woodwork.
Ah, yes, that kind of makes sense.
Style. But it doesn't steam bend well, and it doesn't split easily, and it doesn't hold nails very well.
What is this tree? Oh my God.
It's like non-wood.
It doesn't split easy, but it also doesn't hold nails. I feel like you should be one or the other. You're either strong, you can hold nails, and that doesn't make any sense. You should split easy if you're not tough.
Yeah, I don't know.
Honestly, this is adding to my fuel.
Wow. To your, hey, maybe that fire is fueled with black cottonwood, as is a very popular firewood tree.
Very smelly.
It has this weird sour smell when it's green, Casey.
Yeah, it does.
Does green... now, I say that like I know what it means.
Ooh.
Is green just young?
Yeah, well, no, green is fresh.
Oh, so you could chop down an old tree and it would still be green right away.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's essentially not treated, or rather not treated, it's not the right term. It's not seasoned wood.
Okay.
So yeah, green would mean you just cut it, it's right there. If you try to light it on fire, it's full of water. Oh. Whereas a seasoned wood would not be green. It would have been dried or just had time enough for all the water content inside to either evaporate or just go away somehow.
I see. Okay. Yes, it has a sour smell when it's green. Have you smelled this smell?
Oh yes, many times.
Ooh, that smell that surrounds you.
Oh, I smell it. It's Alex. It's awful.
But that sour smell fades when it dries.
Yes.
So it has something to do with the water in the wood, I guess. This is sad. The wood database said it was a low value wood.
It is.
Nobody wants it.
Alex, please continue.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
The inner bark, however, I take it back. It's not low value. This thing can be consumed to fuck.
Oh, God.
I'm sure we've covered a tree that people eat the inner bark, but I have never been aware of it.
Well, the willow, that's a perfect example.
Yes, of course, yes. So the inner bark can be eaten raw or dried.
Wow.
You can ground it into a flour. These are indigenous uses
for sure.
And inventions, I should say.
Yeah, which I have to say, the wood database, for all its glory, it's very much a how do we use that wood properties.
Yeah.
So it says that's a low value wood, but then you're like, well, actually, only maybe for whatever you want to use it for.
Good point, Casey. It's very, it's called the wood database. It's very woodworking centric.
Yes, exactly.
Go elsewhere for your indigenous uses of this particular wood.
Precisely.
Or tree.
You make flour out of it. That's
yeah.
amazing.
You grind it into a flour and mixed with other flours to make bread. I don't know if you can make a bread strictly out of this flour.
Gotcha. But you can add other things to it, create something.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
other ground things. The inner bark is very sweet, but it ferments really rapidly, so it can't be dried for consumption later.
Yeah.
You kind of have to use it quickly.
Get it while it's hot.
Yeah. It's a common antiseptic.
Ah, okay.
And an expectorant. If you don't know what an expectorant is, this is my first time with this term.
Really?
Yep. It is a medicine for mucus and cough.
Tell us what it is.
Yeah.
I know this because Hannah made a expectorant tincture out of mullein.
Yes.
Which is another plant.
Mulleine's a very popular expectorant.
Yeah, and we used it right after I had COVID-19.
Did it help?
It helped a lot. Like,
wow.
You know, like you take cough syrup and it kind of like you stop coughing.
Yeah.
It was like that. Like you have to kind of, you take it, you kind of wait a little bit, then you don't notice that you're not coughing anymore. But I noticed over time that when I did take it, I coughed less.
This is curious. We both had COVID at the same time, and you didn't offer me any mullein.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. But
I was
also
here by myself.
I was in Bend. Oh,
I was here by myself. I was suffering. It was Christmas. I had no one, and my podcast partner had this miracle drug that he refused to share.
We hoarded it.
And I am on your doorstep banging, please, please give me the mullein.
Hannah, turn the lights off. We're not here. Just don't answer the door.
You put a towel under the door.
I forgot. I didn't even think about it. I'm sorry.
I'm just teasing.
I'm going to go bring you some.
I'm very clearly
tomorrow.
teasing.
It's not clear. I hurt.
You feel bad.
Yes. I'm going to do this.
I feel bad that you feel bad.
Oh, man. I'm going to give myself some mullein too.
Casey. Now this is cool. The fluffy seeds were used, and I'm sure are currently used to stuff pillows.
Oh man,
mattresses.
I was actually wondering about that.
Yeah.
Like if they actually have ever been used to produce cotton.
Yes, essentially.
Wow. That's amazing. I love that.
The inner bark is also used to make soaps and teas.
Okay.
Hey, a soap. What was the most? Was it the? Oh, give me a moment. It was the Joshua tree.
Yes.
The yucca roots
Correct.
are used to make soap.
Yeah.
Larger specimens of the black cottonwood, which it sounds like a lot of them are, can be easily used to make dugout canoes. I'm sure you can get a couple of canoes per tree.
Yep, you certainly could.
The inner bark is also used for rheumatism, fevers, menstrual cramps, Casey.
Yes, everything useful.
The buds are steeped in hot water. You inhale that steam. You relieve congested sinuses.
Yeah, that makes sense. The buds also have a really nice vanilla scent to them when they open. The flower buds specifically. Yeah, they kind of have a big sheath that comes off, and it smells very vanilla.
That sounds great.
Yeah, makes sense.
And again, we just want to say the ponderosa pine bark smells like vanilla.
Yes.
We're sorry.
Whatever anyone says, I don't. Yeah, you're good.
Whatever you think it smells like, that is true.
That is what it smells like.
Casey, we must take a break.
We do.
Upon our return, you will launch into this 50-page manuscript, this diatribe.
It will be a manifesto, Alex.
Right after the break, we'll be right back with more Completely Arbortrary. Welcome back to Completely Arbortrary. Today we're talking the black cottonwood. Casey Clapp.
Alex.
Word around the farm is that you've got a thing or two to say about this here black cottonwood.
I sure do have a thing or two to say about this black cottonwood, and I don't know how it's going to end.
Oh.
But I know what I have to say.
Casey?
Yes.
Take it away. I reserve the right to interrupt.
I think you should. You always have that right, and I will honor it. Do you like black cottonwoods, Alex?
I don't know.
I'm going to try to make it very challenging for you to figure that out. The black cottonwood.
Oh, God.
Hold on. Yes, okay, here's my manuscript. Universally scorned by everybody.
Yeah.
Does not deserve this scorn.
There it is.
Here's the thing. I'm going to tell you why they are the worst trees. And I'm going to tell you why. Shut up.
All right.
So here's the thing. First off, black cottonwoods, they are trees that grow big. I think every I think every superb tree, every tree that has a superlative should be just lauded. We should be like, you are the best. Great job.
You're a stand for superlative trees. The biggest, the fattest.
They're great.
Excuse me, the whitest.
They've done everything. They deserve that respect.
The biggest leaf.
Yeah.
The whatever.
The whatever. I think that deserves a round of applause, no matter what.
Okay.
Enter here. Thank you. So, meanwhile...
Sorry, I'm still learning the software. I can't do that.
Oh, shoot. I thought we had that down. So, the eastern cottonwood technically gets larger in a lot of respects, which is okay. But for the West, it being the biggest broadleaf tree in the West, it's pretty freaking cool.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Meanwhile, it is known to have horribly brittle wood and horribly shallow roots. That is 100% true.
Yeah.
It also, because of all the wood things that you described, is an absolutely atrocious compartmentalizer. It will, if you nick it or if you cut it or it gets a wound somewhere, that wound will within the day start to decay.
Oh my God.
All right, that's a little bit of an exaggeration.
No, let's go with it.
It decays so fast, Alex.
Yeah.
It's obscene. And it will have decay go up. It will have decay go out. It will have holes where branches used to become decay holes that go down and go in and go up and go out.
Wow.
It's not strong wooded already. So if you have an oak of the same size and the same everything, all other things being equal, decay gets in. You have the same amount of decay in either tree. The oak tree, you'll probably be like, maybe keep an eye on it. It's fine. If it's a cottonwood, you like, everyone get out from within 1.5 times the height of the tree. We're going to need to get a crane to take this one out. We're going to blow it up with a tank.
RIP immediately.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's like, that tree is toast. Get away from it.
Wow.
So, which is not inaccurate. It's very accurate. This is every arborist I've ever met will just be like, oh, cottonwood. Ugh. Like, hey, you see one planted or you see one growing, you're like, a cottonwood. Could you not have planted, thought about, killed, and replanted literally anything else?
Sure.
Which is fine, don't you think?
Yeah, around here we have a saying, your cones are your own.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that.
Yes.
And it's mostly so that I can have whatever opinion I want, and you can't say shit.
Exactly.
No, it's because almost nothing bothers me more, Casey, than somebody coming at you for like a totally benign opinion. If your opinion is that, everybody should own a gun, like, made for military warfare.
Okay.
Then go after that person. If your opinion is that you like black cottonwoods, have at it.
I see. Okay, good. I think
there is a spectrum.
There is, yes. And the cottonwood is somewhere on that spectrum that makes it, if you like it, great. If you don't, great.
Yeah.
But it just so happens you as a level-headed reviewer of trees are absolutely the minority. Everybody hates this tree.
Wow.
In the arborist community. Okay, not everyone. I don't want to, see paint with broad brushes here, broad strokes. But it is. No one likes it. If a designer sees it like, oh, well, we got to cut down those black cottonwoods. We'd love to have any other tree. You see a forest of black cottonwoods and you know what they are. You're like, black cottonwoods. Those are gross trees. They smell bad. They fall apart. They don't have like a big, beautiful crown. Even if you see one growing, you're not like, wow, majestic black cottonwood.
They remind me a bit of a hawthorn, just kind of a mess.
That's really true, but it's a mess that is like a giant. So at least a hawthorn kind of is just like, oh, it's a mess right over there.
I mean, I like hawthorns.
Yeah, but you're not going to have a mess hawthorn grow to be 3 times the size of your house.
I see.
That's what cottonwoods will do.
I see.
And then they'll have a branch that's the size of a small hawthorn coming off of it that will drop at any point if snow happens. They'll be like, whoosh, throw its branch off of you. Yeah. And then the branch will start to decay. Now you have a whole decaying section inside of the top of this tree, so on and so forth.
The way you're speaking, Casey, it sounds like you actually don't like the cottonwood.
I have to admit, oftentimes I'm like, oh, a cottonwood. Ugh, okay, not interesting. Okay. Move on. So if I'm driving, which I was this last weekend, driving through the mountains of the Cascades right near Mount Hood, and I was driving and I was like, oh, it's beautiful trees. I love this tree. This is a great tree. I found 9 conifers within one, like you walk within 100 feet of a circle, of a center of
9
a circle.
species of conifer.
9 species of conifer. Yeah. Individually identified them right there. It's great. I'll tell you about them later. Meanwhile, as I was driving like out of that area and I saw Cottonwood, I was like, oh, it kind of ruined it for me. I'm like,
really?
Oh, it's a beautiful, really intense habitat. And then this Cottonwood's like, hey, me too, I'm here. And it was like, oh, Cottonwood's here.
Is it just because it's weak and...
No, it also, like, everyone hates it because its roots are very, like, most of the time roots are kind of benign. They kind of grow and then go around things.
Mm-hmm.
Their roots are really aggressive. If they get even a little bit of water, they will go whoosh, straight to it and, like, absolutely go wild for it because they grow in riparian areas. So their roots are, like, always looking for water. And when they get it, they're like, unlimited amount. This is where I grow. And it just sucks it up.
Do they grow those, like, hairy roots, like willows that, like, protect in habitats and stuff?
Yeah, exactly. Now, see, here is where you're kind of flipping the script, Alex, which it's exactly what my diatribe has literally written. I see in here, flip script.
Wow. Casey literally just flipped a script.
Yeah, I did. It's mind-blowing that I even had paper. So that's exactly the crux here, where everyone is looking at this tree as horrible for the human habitat, which it is. Its roots are always on the surface and they always cause trouble. Its branches will always break. It's just what they do. And they will do it being the size of gigantic branches. It will decay quickly. It's not a very beautiful tree. It kind of has a funny smell and the leaves are really big. And then, oh my God, on top of it, this is the biggest thing that we're here to dispel. If the episode ends right now and you just edit out everything except what I'm about to say, I will be very happy. Everyone out there, are you sneezing right now? Is there cotton around you? Ask yourself, what makes you sneeze?
I know.
Alex, what's the answer?
Grass.
Ah, exactly. But now let's take it back even a step more. What exactly from the grass is making you sneeze?
Give me a moment.
Take your time.
I don't know.
Okay, ding. Alex.
I literally have no guess.
Oh my gosh.
That's how little I know.
Alex, it's the pollen.
Well, yeah.
That's the answer.
Okay, I didn't say that because I thought I was so obvious that it was wrong.
Sorry, I was trying to like get to that very obvious answer. Yeah, you did it. Sorry, you can cut that out.
You can lead a horse to water.
But Alex, it is pollen.
Yes,
pollen is what makes one sneeze. What have we
makes one sneeze?
Sorry, makes a person sneeze once. What did we spend pains describing is those little white tuft things.
Yeah.
Those are the seeds inside the fruit. Are you allergic in the order to make you sneeze to little seeds?
No,
the
Casey.
answer is no, Alex.
Do I even need to be here for this?
Yes, you do, because this is important. All right, I will just lay it out there. You are not allergic to cottonwoods. Shut up.
Wow.
Everyone, I'm sorry that I said that. I was very rude. I immediately regret it. Everyone.
Casey.
You are not allergic to cottonwood. My grandma literally did this weekend. She was like, oh, when these things start coming out, that's my one allergic thing. And I was just like.
And you said, shut up.
I did not. I love my grandma to death, and you know what? She's lived a lot longer than me, so I'm just gonna let her do her thing. It is not those little fluffs. Those little fluffs are not making you sneeze.
Okay.
They are not pollen. Pollen is the allergen that floats. The cottonwood tree is known quite specifically as a moderate thing.
Pollinator.
It's a pollinator. In fact, all the things that I've read through, because I was like, Casey, check your facts.
Well, hold on. Sure. You said moderate thing.
So moderate
producer of pollen.
Yes, it's a moderate allergen.
Allergen.
Excuse me.
That's okay.
So it specifically says in here in these things that they are known for making their seeds, but the trees pollinate in like late February, March. Sometimes later in April, depends on where you are and all these sort of phenology happens.
Okay.
Here in the Willamette Valley, they actually pollinate. Those pollen catkins, they come out in like early spring, February, March.
Oh, wow.
That is when the pollen of the cottonwood trees are fluffing everywhere.
So you're telling me, wow, that the cottonwood has been framed
Yes.
for being an allergen
Yes.
at this specific time of year.
Yes.
Maybe somebody who's really sensitive
No.
in February
Yes.
would have allergens from a cottonwood.
Correct.
But right now, it just so happens that two things are happening.
Yes.
Grass is pollinating?
It's going wild right now.
So that's happening.
Yes.
And another thing that's happening, completely unrelated, is that the cottonwoods are releasing their seeds.
Yes. Which are not pollen.
And when people see the cottonwood seeds, which look like fluffy little congestive balls,
that's exactly what they look
and
like.
they can't breathe through their nose, they say, oh, I must be getting that up in my nose.
Yeah.
It's an allergen. I'm allergic to that.
It is a mob mentality where people just look around in their anger and they're like, you're evil.
They raise their pitchforks to the sad giant.
Exactly. It's a sad giant, Alex. It's so big, but it's also really weak and it can't hold nails and its branches are dropping all over the place. And then it gets attacked with pitchforks for doing nothing. It already did it and no one complained.
What am I thinking of? I guess Shrek. Yeah.
I'm thinking of the Monty Python where he's like, she's a witch. And they're like, she turned me into a newt. He's like, what? Well, I got better.
So Casey's doing the high school drama kid thing.
Oh, I love it.
He's about to repeat the entire script from Monty Python. Act 1.
Hey, he's not dead yet.
Oh my
Bump him on the head.
No.
No singing. That was good. That was really good.
Okay. So, I get it.
So, okay, I'm glad you get it. I'm sorry we had to do that in such minutia, but it's so important, and this is my stage to finally stand up and throw the yoke of, okay, whatever. I have to make a stand. We did the same thing for the black walnut, where we were like, it is not, in fact, causing the problems that everyone vilifies it for causing.
Can I ask you a question?
You can.
Is this a tree rightfully wronged?
No. Yes. No, it's rightfully wrong because everyone really, the general public, the masses, hate it for being some kind of allergen.
They hate it for the wrong thing.
Exactly. Now, if you are an arborist and you have a cottonwood that's gigantic and it's growing somewhere, that tree sucks. Because it's going to fall on your house. It's certain to happen.
So you're saying it is rightful to hate it.
Yeah.
But not for the reason that not for one of the reasons a lot of people hate it.
Not for like the vast majority. If you are a tree person, if you're a naturalist person, you can identify that tree and you can say, oh, that's actually probably not the right tree for that place.
Yeah.
Then yes, you can. However, one more fold, Alex. If you take that tree, that exact tree, everything that's happening, and you put it in its native habitat, the riparian areas of our waterways, all those attributes make it the single greatest environmental impact in that entire area.
I see.
This tree will fall and break off because it can't hold itself up. It can't hold a nail. Then it will block the water and it will create a little dam. Then the water will kind of push back and it creates a new riffle. Then there's a little waterfall. Then it's going to put its roots on either side with its millions of little seeds that it puts out, and it will hold the riparian area together. Then it's going to start decaying because it'll sprout from a new stump that comes up, or from new things. And then a big spring rain comes through. You get this big flood and they fall over. And then you create all this interesting habitat for turtles and ducks and things on the side. That creates new things in the water, new riffles, new different intensities. So the water ends up having a complexity as a system, which is way better for everything that's living in that system. And then you have birds and things that live up in those decaying things. It's one of the best decaying trees. It decays so fast. A bird can just be like, wow, cool. Now I got a home. This home used to not exist 2 years ago. Now it's a spacious mansion. So it creates it grows so big, so fast, opens up these big things, then it decays so fast that you end up getting these essentially ecosystem building trees that just like put it on autopilot and put it on overdrive.
It's like a super nurse tree.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. It crushes it, and then things live in it, things live on it. It creates the habitat. Like we used to, as forestry people, way back when, pull logs and things out of streams because like, oh, they're so messy and they're so congested with all these things. That is the definition of habitat destruction.
Yeah.
It's the most backwards things we've ever done. Now we're trying to add logs into these things. Cottonwoods, they already do it. So in their native habitat, all those attributes that make them so horrible in an urban area towards people make them the single greatest like ecosystem builder out there.
With that momentum behind us, we spiral out of control into our review of the Black Cottonwood. Here's how it works. We'll give some final thoughts on the Black Cottonwood and then give it a rating of 0 to 10 Golden Cones of Honor. Casey, as our resident expert, we'll begin with you. I don't know how much more you might have to say, but let's keep it tight.
Oh, Alex, that's all I have to say.
What's your cone score?
My cone score is 4.5.
Well, what?
Honestly, this tree sucks. Like, there's no way around it. I hate working with cottonwoods. They smell bad. They're too big. You can't trust them. You don't know what they're going to do. They're very, very aggressive, and they also tend to just like fall apart. You can't predict them. You don't know what they're going to do, and they're going to be rude and aggressive about it the whole time. However, in their native habitat, they do all those cool things that I could ever see. But at the end of the day, wish it was a red cedar.
I see.
That's all I'm saying. But it gets all that credit. However, I need to set the record straight. So it's kind of one of these things where it's like, you defend a criminal. They're bad. They've done bad things, but you have to defend them because that is your job. You are a public defender. You are a defender of this public.
Okay.
I'm doing that for this cottonwood. I'm saying, Alex, I'm defending the cottonwood where it must be defended. However, I'm still not going to go drink with it at a bar.
Oh my God.
4.5. Tree is not that great unless it's in a certain position. However, your scorn is probably misplaced. This is a complicated one for me. I didn't know what I was going to do.
I feel sick to my stomach.
I know, you should.
All right. What was it? 4 something?
I said 4.5.
4.5. Okay.
It's so difficult.
I have none. I have no opinion. I have all of my cons are outweighed by pros and vice versa. I am perfectly balanced. And if I'm going straight up the middle, 5.0 Golden Cones of Honor.
5.0. See, I think that makes sense, Alex.
It is neutral.
It's straight down the middle.
Yeah, I want to clarify. This is not a low 5.
Yeah.
This is a perfectly medium stake.
It's a soccer game ending in a tie.
Yeah.
A boring soccer game at that.
Ending at 1-1.
0-0.
Yeah. Oh, that can happen?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Talk about boring game.
Okay, that was our review.
We're a little shell-shocked over here, I think.
Of the Black Cottonwood. Casey, it's time for a very special event.
Oh, speaking of World Cups of soccer.
Wow. That worked great. It is time for our second round of the Tournament of Champion Trees 2022.
Woo!
We have special guest Tobin Mitnik. You may know him as Jews Love Trees on Instagram. A wonderful person.
Yep.
A delight to have.
A necessary addition to the team.
Yes, 100%. If you want to hear the rules and if you're lost right now, you may want to go back to last week's episode, give that segment a listen. We painstakingly describe what's happening here.
That's right.
It is our Tournament of Champion Trees, 16 trees, head to head to head to head to head. And the full first round premiered on our Patreon, patreon.com/arbortrarypod. Pay $5. You can listen to it and like 30 other episodes. Round 2 begins now.
Hold on, Alex.
Yes, Casey?
I think it just started, like literally right now. I think we're going live.
We go live to the forest. Welcome, Fungal Associates, to the Tournament of Champion Trees 2022. Coming to you live from Portland, Oregon. I'm Alex Crowson. I'm here with Casey Clapp. Casey, hello.
Hello, everyone. It's the energy here is absolutely off the charts. I can't say how excited I am to be here.
It's palpable. And our special guest, Tobin Mitnik. Hello, Tobin.
Hello.
Hey, Alex, man, I'm exhausted. I've been spending a lot of time with these trees, getting a lot of vital statistics, getting the opinions of the crowd down here. This tournament is pumped. I don't want to say on fire because I always get a few tree screams when I say that, but things are looking Pumpy in here.
Oh yeah, you're like our correspondent on the field when they cut to that guy.
Yeah, I am that. Don't destroy the illusion.
He's got his finger on the pulse.
Or should I say, in the forest. Here we are with round 2 of this tournament. Round 1 was held on our Patreon. So if you are a patron and want to hear round 1, some really exciting matchups happened there. Patreon.com/arbitrarypod. If you're not, go for it. It was a lot of fun. Tobin is back. We have Casey here. I'm Alex. And we have 8 trees in this second round, ready to go head to head. Some exciting matchups ahead of us, Case.
Yeah, we really do. We have some that are unexpected. A quick recap: we had some things like the river red gum go against the ginkgo. The ginkgo came out on top. However, I think in what surprised almost everyone is that the red mangrove outtook the Taiwania. Simply a stunning result.
It
definitely surprised you, Casey.
Everyone, Tobin. Everyone was surprised.
Okay, so let's get into round 2. Let's jump right in. We have the monkey puzzle versus the button ball. Monkey puzzle,
Wow.
Araucaria Araucana, nominated by Edward Hildred. The reason Edward gave: it lived and survived with dinosaurs. It's spiky as fuck, and it ages like a fine wine.
Fine wine.
The button ball tree, Platanus occidentalis, Platanus, as the Greeks might say.
They would have.
As the Greeks might pronounce their Latin.
Nominated by Cameron McCormick. Why? Because it radiates power and honor.
I should say that power and honor got it through the first round. It was that radiation.
That's right. And Casey, what do you think about this American sycamore going up against this monkey puzzle?
You know, this is a hard one. So the American sycamore, it is one of my top favorite trees, an arbitrary ranking of 4.8, and the altruism, though, is only 1. It doesn't give a whole lot. And I think once we get to the second round, I think really giving, but also having the strength to stand on your own is what's going to take these trees through.
Wow.
So I think that as a tree that grows, it's a delightful tree. It shades our streets as if it is meant to be there. It also grows in the weirdest ways and doesn't ever die, pretty much in its natural habitat, growing next to rivers in the eastern United States. But the monkey puzzle tree, the Peiwen, is like outstanding. It's lived like for millions and millions of years, almost untouched. It has essentially armor around it, which was good enough to protect it from the dinosaurs who all died because they couldn't eat this tree. That's saying something. And then on top of that, it grows at the highest elevations. It has a crown that makes you think this is of the dinosaurs. So it's really the matter of the monkey puzzle power ranking of 6.8 arbitrary points. Yeah, we're going to say arbitrary points. I think it's going to be the monkey puzzle that ends up coming out on top. I think it's strong enough to take any battering that the sycamore could give.
Well said, Casey. Tobin, your thoughts on this matchup?
I want to say, in the last round, I denigrated the American sycamore as doing a little too much tree jizz onto my beautiful Subaru Forester.
Right.
I had another memory, which was playing at my friend Isaac Kastenbaum's house when I was a very young man in Pennsylvania, and there being a sycamore there, and me observing the bark and the kind of patterns that it forms, and then I softened. So I am putting to rest this particular tree grudge because I want to move forward, and I'm warming to the American sycamore. The monkey puzzle tree is fun. It's great. I don't have a lot of personal experience with it, but you can see where my heart is right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Incredible.
I see. Alex.
Listen, I made it clear in the first round that I'm a monkey puzzle stan.
Fanatic.
As it were.
You're a puzzler.
I'm a bit of a puzzler. Ooh, says I. And the American sycamore, I have no personal experience with. However, my interest with the monkey puzzle pretty much ends at, oh, that's fun.
Oh.
This is going to sound denigrating. I don't mean to denigrate the monkey puzzle. It's incredibly important. But the American sycamore, I believe, may have what it takes to edge out the competition. Let's announce our winners as we do on the count of tree.
Okay.
Who's moving on to the semifinals? 1, 2, tree.
Monkey
American
puzzle.
sycamore. My God.
Wow.
The monkey puzzle takes it. Incredible.
Alex, I didn't expect that. I thought I was on my own. I thought I was standing on my own island. Tobin, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Tobin, you swapped your picks from the last round. This is incredible. That recovered memory really did it for you.
Really?
Yeah, you don't see it right now, but I'm on my psychologist's couch, and
He is.
I'm recording this from my therapist's couch.
Yeah. The psychologist, thank you for letting us do this. This actually really does help us.
Everybody's
No problem,
texting
guys.
their therapists. I need an extra session this week.
No,
It's urgent.
This is totally allowed. This is totally allowed.
It absolutely is. Yeah.
Yeah, my therapist is completely real. He's a real
Wow.
therapist.
Yeah. 100%. We can
It's
see
not
the
your
couch.
dog.
Nope.
We've established that. Our next matchup. Oh
Ooh,
boy.
man.
Okay.
Some
we
heavy
have
hitters.
the ginkgo biloba, going up against the camphor tree, Cinnamomum camphora. The ginkgo, nominated by Hannah Derman. Hannah says it's an ancient tree. It has cool leaves. It's dioecious, and it's very tattoo worthy. Lots of ginkgo tattoos. It's a popular one,
it's very
Casey.
important.
Casey, do you have a ginkgo tattoo?
I don't have a ginkgo tattoo.
Is that something you stay away from purposefully?
I do, yeah. So it's no offense to anyone, but yes, a lot of people have this tattoo. So I tried to get tattoos that are maybe less gotten, you
Sure.
know? Like, for instance, again, no offense, I will never get a swift or a swallow tattooed on me. They're very popular. So I prefer to try to go for something else. Also, I like the classic conifer as opposed to the larger idea of a gymnosperm. So I prefer the cones that are more than just seeds.
I see.
It would be kind of funny though if I just got like a circle tattooed with like some shading. And it was like, what's that? And I was like, oh, it's the fruit of a ginkgo tree. And it was like, oh. Because then if I'm in another crowd, I'll just tell them it's an ultimate frisbee looked at from above.
You know, it'd be really cool if you could get a scratch and sniff tattoo and get a ginkgo seed.
That seems like it is just like another like pandemic waiting to happen. Hey, scratch and sniff my tattoo, would you?
Tobin, do you have any tree-related tattoos?
I'm building a family tree related tattoo on my shoulder, which is just a couple of dates that are important to me. But I figure by the time that I'm 75, if I keep getting the dates tattooed there, I can make them into a fun sprawling tree of dates, which will be
now,
fun.
when you say dates, are we
I don't
talking
mean the fruit,
Okay.
I mean numbers.
Because
Great.
a date is not a tree; it's a palm.
Moving the fuck on. Ginkgo versus camphor. Tobin, what do you think about this matchup?
Alex, it would be stupid of me not to say that I got a real I got a real inclination here towards the gink. Oh baby.
Bit of a gink freak, this guy.
Yeah, I actually had put in. I was thinking about like something else entirely for the past 4.5 minutes. So I haven't done my yeah. But I'll just kind of repeat my same talking points from the first round, which I think still apply. Which are that the ginkgo has a 3.6 wisdom rating, which is remarkably high, and it has to do with its evolutionary amount of wisdom, right? As opposed to its like single stem. Do we know how long ginkgos live on average in terms of single trees?
Yeah, we do. I think the oldest one is just about 3,500 years old.
No shit. Okay, so
Yeah.
the single trees also live
Yeah.
like old ye old pine rivaling
exactly.
ages.
Yeah. So they usually the middle decays out, so they can't say for sure. Like a bristlecone
yeah.
pine, they can count the rings.
Yeah.
So they estimate the oldest one's about 3,500, which is our wisdom rating basis here.
Oh, okay. So it's not evolutionary. It's really just single tree. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm firm on the ginkgo. Nothing against the
right.
camphor. I love my neighbor Totoro. I just so many reasons to recommend the ginkgo in this respect.
Casey.
Okay, I'm also there with the ginkgo. Age before glory.
Wow.
That's kind of what I'm getting at here. Like I think the ginkgo is evolutionarily old. It's got that wisdom. It is physically old. It's got that wisdom. But Altruism kind of low. It's got like a 2 in altruism. Its strength rating's only 1.3. So I think if you really bash them against each other in a literal sense, the camphor tree might actually come out on top. Not to mention 3.25 for altruism. That's a high score. So going straight by score, we got 10.5 to 9.5 in the camphor's favor. Is modernity going to finally take the old hat down? I don't know. Interesting
question, Casey. I want to note that the power of the camphor tree is at a 4.1. That's one of our most powerful trees.
Yeah, that is. That again is the American Forest ranking system for that. So that's high.
The statistics on the ginkgo aren't fantastic, but there is a sixth statistic here, a sixth sense, if you will, and that's personal preference.
It is. That's there. You can't write that down.
And we're going to find out which one we personally prefer on the count of tree. Ginkgo or camphor? 1, 2, tree.
Ginkgo.
Wow. Ginkgo moves on. Casey, I'm stunned.
I know. Wow. Honestly, I thought today it seemed right that the modern tree doing the modern thing, the new kid on the block in every regard, I think it needed its shot at the title.
I respect that opinion, Casey.
That's right. That's the way it goes.
Moving on.
Here we go. I know. There's no time to dwell.
Sorry. I'm dwelling. I'm doing a lot of dwelling right now.
Tobin, we need you to focus. This is serious.
It says in the contract, no dwelling.
It's literally 0.5.
Joke's on you, Crowson. I didn't sign that contract.
Oh, no.
Oh,
and I didn't sign your goddamn NDA either.
Oh, shit. He's going to wring us dry.
This is real bad.
Our next matchup, the red mangrove versus the Oregon white oak. Even reading it out loud, I've got a knot in my stomach.
Wow.
The red mangrove, Rhizophora mangle. The Oregon white oak, Quercus garryana, our beloved Quercus garryana. The red mangrove, nominated by Tamena Scholz. Tamena says they look cool, can literally make islands and grow in salt water. It's one of the few trees to do better in changing sea levels and warmer water. It stabilizes shorelines, creates entire habitats, and it has worldwide distribution. The Oregon white oak, nominated by Haley Hurt and Rachel Bickham. So pretty, so big, so squiggly. It's so big.
They say it twice.
That's incredible. That's how you know it's big. It has a magistry rating of 11 out of 10. It's fabulous when viewed from afar. Its beauty is visceral and undefinable. Its limbs are curly, funky, strong. Tobin, what do you think about this clashing of the gods?
Yeah. Red mangrove really does have that kind of Valar feel to it, doesn't it?
It does.
Really does. It does.
Yeah.
It does. I have to say, like, I'm sympathetic to it. It's remarkable, and I think we're going to be seeing a whole lot more of the red mangrove in the future with rising sea levels and increasing temperatures. So get ready for that's your real tree of the future, Alex. That's what I'm putting all my money on. Oregon white oak going to go the way of the dodo along with us.
I love it.
Along with us, I think that's fair. Alex,
I love it,
what do you think here?
I'm from Oregon. It's the place I call home. The Oregon white oak. Some people call it the Gary oak. I call it the Oregon white oak. Why? I'm from Oregon. If you were from Oregon, you would call it that too.
Yeah.
If you're not, you don't. That's fine. I have a bit of a chip on my shoulder, Casey. The Oregon white oak is important to me.
It's coming.
But I gotta say,
going on below the surface there, Casey.
All right.
It really is.
The red mangrove is a stunningly impressive tree. Altruism, 5.
Yeah, that's insane.
Strength, 5.
Mother Teresa and Arnold Schwarzenegger in one.
Well said, my friend.
Thanks.
It has 2 maxed out stats. However, that's about all it has as far as stats go. It's got a 0.1 wisdom. It's got a 0.5 power. Not great there, but hey.
Not great.
It depends on what you think is more important to a tree. Me, I love the altruism. I can take or leave the strength, but I'm a big fan of the altruism. And this thing is the most altruistic tree we have in the tournament. Casey, what do you think?
All right, so I feel the same. However, When I see the slow crawl of the mangrove, and I mean this in a literal sense, I feel as if it's putting its legs out and crawling up the coastlines.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely. I agree with Tobin. I think this is the tree of the future. No matter what happens today, it is definitely going to be moving around, and it's going to be a force to be reckoned with. You're exactly right. It has set the tone for altruism and for strength rating. But can you say that it's squiggly? Can you say it's big twice? Can you give it a Majesty rating of 11 out of 10?
I don't know if I could even give it a Majesty rating.
I don't think you can.
Wow.
I don't think you can. So far, no one else has in the history of Majesty ratings. So what I'm thinking is that I have to go with the Oregon White Oak. It matches the culture of being funky, strong, and curly as nothing else can. So I don't know. This one's going to be really hard. I think we're just going to have to find out on the fly. But the staying power of each tree is subtly different. One will stay like a horde of ants, never goes away. Mm-hmm. The other one stays as in a cockroach that you can never kill. I don't know.
Well, let's find out who's staying in the tournament between the red mangrove and the Oregon White Oak on the count of tree. 1, 2, tree.
Oregon
Red mangrove.
Oh my God.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Guys.
It's gone.
It's gone. It's out. It's out of the tournament.
The red mangrove moving on to the semifinals.
It's great because the red mangrove is amazing, but it's also kind of a villain.
It's a little bit of a villain. This is like when the Yankees win.
Mm-hmm.
I see it as a villain who explains in the campfire scene, explains their reasoning why they're a villain, and you go, oh my God, they're actually a good guy.
This is a Jamie Lannister kind of situation.
It is a bit of a Janie Lammister.
His name is Janie Lammister.
Janie Lammister.
We don't want to get sued by George R.R.R.R. Martin. Okay. All right, Alex.
Casey, Tobin, we have one more matchup in this round 2. I'm nervous for this one.
Yeah.
I can feel it in the air. I know you guys feel the same way. This is the Sitka spruce, Picea sichensis, going up against the olive, Olea europaea, Casey?
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Oh my God.
The Sitka spruce, nominated by Sage Minor.
My stomach is turning right now.
Nominated by Sage Minor. Their reason, 2 words, huge tree. How about that? The olive was nominated by E. Price. Mm-hmm. Their reasoning, a little more in depth. It's iconic. It's ancient. It's hardy. It's versatile. It's beautiful in its inconsistency, the foundation of Mediterranean culture and cuisine. It's so unique. It's its own color.
It's pretty impressive.
An anchor to the past, the stuff of legend. Hey, Casey, our new T-shirt comes in an olive.
Yes, it's true. Yeah, and it's also the anchor to the past.
Yeah, find that at arbitrarypod.com/merch.
Wow.
Tobin, I need to know your thoughts on this meeting of the giants.
Oh, God, Alex, why'd you ask me, man? This is like saying, hey, Tobin, why don't you choose? This is a Sophie's choice. I'm just going to say it. This is a real Sophie's choice of trees. And
what is a Sophie's choice?
Oh, that's what it means. You got it right on the nose.
Okay,
That's
gotcha.
choosing between your children. Mm-hmm. Good Lord. The Sitka spruce is a titan. Its altruism rating, this is what I cited also in the last round, 4.5, just a crucial tree to the ecosystem of the Northwest.
Yeah.
And I would shudder to think what would happen if it wasn't there or it hadn't come into being. At the same time, the olive, simple giant. Simple giant of such insane symbolic importance in the history of the world that it's the you could make a religion around the olive tree where God, can you just tell how my back is against the wall right now.
Yeah, you're awestruck.
I think this is a good idea, by the way, this olive tree religion. Mm-hmm. We could make billions. I just want to say that.
Yeah, that's what religion is for, I believe.
Of course.
It is.
I might have to just make a decision when we get there.
Wow. While Tobin stews away on this tough decision, Casey, your thoughts?
Okay, so I'm a numbers guy. I go by the numbers sometimes. Other times I don't. Today, I don't know if I can, but let me just lay this out.
Okay.
The olive, I believe, has the single highest arbitrary ranking of all of the trees. And again, I should remind everyone, we started with 39 trees, 16.2, which is just incredible. So it maxes out altruism with a 5. Its strength rating is 4.6. I believe it set the benchmark almost for that.
It did, yeah.
Then we also have 4.1 in wisdom. Not only does it have all these other things, it lives for the longest. So that is pretty intense. But a 9.9 for arbitrary ranking, I don't think is anything to sneeze at. Its altruism, as you said, Tobin, is off the charts. This tree will grow way over 300 feet tall. It matches with the redwoods in California, with the Douglas firs in California and Oregon. I got to give it some credit for that. I think that even if the olive came up against the Sitka spruce and they just bashed at each other for a long time, I think the Sitka spruce would kind of just sit there and wait it out, because it's just like, I don't really care. You are nothing to me.
In a competition of physical strength, you mean? Okay.
I think so. Even though it looks like the olive is stronger, I think the Sitka spruce makes it. I really do.
Okay. It's hard for me to put into words how much I love the olive. I think when we recorded our olive episode, I am on record as saying that it's one of the most, I think the most culturally important tree we've covered.
Altruistic.
Can you think of another tree that's as like big of a deal?
I can't. I don't think I can.
Yeah, I can't either. The Sitka spruce, I'm sorry, you guys. I could kind of take or leave it.
Wow.
I know that will be hard to hear for some people, but the olive is a fucking giant. It's stacked.
Okay.
And we're about to find out who moves on to the next round between the Sitka spruce and the olive. It's a somber mood here.
Yeah. We're all losers and we're all winners after this.
That's right, Casey. Great way of putting that. We'll decide on the count of tree. 1, 2, tree. Olive. Holy crap. Olive moving on.
I'm sick.
To the semifinals.
Physically ill.
I have a barf bucket next to me that is brimming.
Oh my God.
I can honestly smell it from here.
That imagery. You guys, I feel great.
Look at it, Casey. Look
Alex,
at it.
Oh my God.
Look at it.
Alex, you feel great?
I feel great about this.
Wow.
I think Olive deserves to move on. It's going up against the red mangrove in the next round.
Shit.
Wow.
I can't wait to see what happens there.
Okay, so I just want to point out, our next round, this is the semifinals. Whoever wins these two are going to the ship, as it were. Okay.
Yes.
Alex was drinking at the time.
Sorry. Very thirsty.
The monkey puzzle is going against the ginkgo. Now, the ginkgo and the monkey puzzle, gymnosperms. On the other side, red mangrove versus olive, angiosperms.
That's incredible.
Look at that.
That is amazing. This is coming down to a botanical and a evolutionary battle cry between the two different, let's say ancient ones versus the new kids on the block.
Wow, the primordials versus the Olympians.
This is what it is.
Incredible.
Stunning.
Tobin
Percy versus the Jacksons. What?
That's exactly right. I was going to say it, but Alex, he's not cultured enough to know what that is.
Tobin, how are you feeling about this next round? Any favorites to win the whole shebang?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much. Do you want me to tell you who I think is going to win? Because
no, I take that back. That's bad. That's bad storytelling.
Yeah.
I think I know how this is going to go, and I think I know what you guys are going to do too.
Huh, Alex? What about you? Do you have your cards laid out? Do you know what you're going to play?
I am going to feel it in the moment. However, I'd be lying if I didn't say I had a favorite in this fight, Casey. Do you have a favorite? No spoils.
I'm not going to spoil it. I have a favorite. I do have a favorite, and I think I know how it's going to come out.
Holy crap.
I'm not sure, but we're going to have to find out next week, I suppose.
That's right. And with that, thank you so much, Tobin, for joining us again in this round 2.
Sure.
Any parting words?
I'm pumped for the next round.
Oh my God. Hell yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
it's going to be stunning. And with that, we send it back to the studio. Casey.
Yes, sir.
How about those results?
My God. I'm dumbfounded.
I'm sweating.
I didn't see any of those coming. I don't know how they did it back there in the forest, but oh man.
Oh yes, Alex 2 and Casey 2.
Yes, and Tobin 1.
Yeah, I can't believe we got Tobin 1.
Yeah, seriously, it's hard to get anything like that.
Well, here we are back in the studio with Casey 1 and Alex 1. That was round 2 of the Tournament of Champion Trees 2022. We will wrap up the tournament next week with the semifinals and the final round.
I'm so excited.
Right here on the mainline episodes. We can't wait to show you who takes the cake.
Yep. Please let us know if you have been following through this whole time.
Yeah.
If you've been winning, we want to know how many of you were able to predict what we couldn't predict. We had, like massive computers trying to figure out what this was going to be, and none of them so far could make it past the second round. This is truly outstanding.
You know those first computers that like filled a school gymnasium?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We got some of those.
Yeah, we did.
They're not quite as powerful as like older iPhones.
Yeah, but they're almost there.
But it's like you pay for that analog computing.
Yeah, you like the clicks and the clanks of everything moving around. Yeah. Alex, stunning. I just can't. I'm excited. Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm excied.
Of course. Okay,
it's maybe the most exciting thing we've ever done on the podcast.
I think so, yeah.
It's certainly the most pointless, and I love that.
Well, we wouldn't be completely arbitrary if we weren't completely arbitrary.
That's right, Casey. Speaking of completely arbitrary, it's time for our completely arbitrary Q&A. Casey, this week, our question is from Gabriel Pozluzny.
Friend of the pod. Hey, Gabe.
This was news to me. Hey, Gabe. Casey, Gabe asks, can I call him Gabe or should I call him Gabriel?
Well, I think you should be a little respectful.
I'm sorry, Gabriel. Gabriel asks, my understanding is that physics limits the maximum height of a tree. Unless a tree is getting sufficient moisture from the ambient air, the maximum height a tree can support is bound by the physical features of water and sap and capillary action of the cambium.
Mm-hmm.
This is like when that actor from Big Bang Theory has to read like a bunch of like computer science stuff.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know what he's saying, but he's memorized the lines.
He just has to say them.
Yeah. I can read the words.
Yeah.
Is that true? Or can a healthy tree literally push water and sap any height given enough time and few enough imperfections in the cambium structure?
This is such a good question.
Yeah, I love this question.
We will post to a video that explains this thoroughly.
Wow.
The video is by the famed YouTuber, I don't even know his name, but he goes by Veritasium. Got a great video. I had to rewatch this video to make sure that I could explain it, and I can't. So that's why we're going to post it. But let me suffice it to say, he shows that if there's a couple of ways that people here's how trees take water up. The first being capillary action, which is essentially water tension is such that as soon as you put water in a really teeny tiny tube, the tension pulls the water up the tube.
That's right.
Yeah, it's like if you ever get blood taken, they just kind of dip this weird plastic thing and the blood kind of goes up into it.
Yeah.
That's the same thing.
Okay.
So that's one idea. However, capillary action...
Oh, like sucking gasoline out of a gas tank with a hose.
No, not quite.
No, different?
It's a different thing. That is the next thing we'll talk about here in a second.
Fun.
So that's essentially pulling something through a straw.
Yeah.
So the idea with capillary action is that it actually can only put water up a certain distance. I think it's 10 meters? No, it's even less than that. It's a very small amount of space. It doesn't go very high. So there is a limit if you're just looking at capillary action. So it must be something different.
Okay.
So then the next thing that they say, well, transpiration, water, it's essentially a big long tube from the roots all the way through the tree out to the leaves. As water evaporates out through the leaves, it creates a suction because water goes out. That way now you have less water inside and then it kind of gets pulled with it. So you just have this tension that pulls water up and out of these things. So it would be an entire thing where you have water at the bottom, there's pressure pushing on the ground, and that pushes the water through into the roots. Once it's in the roots, then it is in this system where if there's an unbroken chain, it goes all the way up and you can, like a big straw, the air is literally going and sucking it all the way through the tree.
Wow.
Not the case. Turns out gravity.
This was something that was not true.
Yes, this is, yes.
I missed that part. Now I have to rearrange my brain.
Sorry. So this is the other theory that people thought.
Okay.
So that is what they thought would do. But turns out you can only go up about 10 meters. And once you get there, gravity matches the suction. You have a perfect vacuum above it. And then the water starts to boil because the pressure is so high. It
Holy shit.
goes whack, and it starts to, it boils in the sense that the pressure is so high, not the temperature, that it reduces. So water boils at X temperature at certain pressure.
Okay.
If you adjust the pressure in different ways, then you're going to adjust if it's going to boil. So what happened is then it's like, well, okay, if that's not it, what is it? It turns out that water is actually pulled up through the tree, first with capillary action, like that fills the little tiny tubes. But the tubes aren't so small that they pull it all the way up through the tree. Once it gets up and it gets this unbroken chain, that chain then is enacted and it keeps pulling up water in the same way. But what happens is the pores in the leaves are so tiny, Alex, that they actually keep the pressure between the inside of the leaf, inside of those tubes, and the outside, like 16 atmospheres. Are you familiar with what that means? He rolls his eyes. He's like, of course I don't. Right now, there's a pressure which is on ground level. It's called 1 atmosphere of pressure, where it's essentially the weight of all the air and everything above us kind of pushing down.
Okay.
And our bodies are pushing out at exactly 1 atmosphere of pressure. So if our bodies go into space, there's no atmosphere. You know how everyone's like, yeah, if you're not in your suit, you literally explode?
Yeah.
That is because there's no pressure on the outside of you pushing on you. So the 1 atmosphere of pressure inside of you pulls you apart, and it literally, you just go whack, and you're like, yeah, it's pretty awful.
God.
So in trees, they have that little bit of water tension at the stomata, the pores that let in oxygen or let in carbon dioxide and let out water in the leaves. Those are so small, and they have just a little tiny bit of water that keeps everything inside at such a high pressure that the water doesn't boil in that same way that we were talking about with that long straw. Doesn't boil. It is underneath such high pressure. The tree puts 16 times the weight that you're feeling right now. Like you go to the bottom of the ocean and it's like 4 or something. Trees inside will keep it so hard and so tight and so pressurized that the water is getting pushed or getting sucked up through transpiration. And as it goes up, the pressure is increased and increased and increased and increased and increased and increased until right at that edge before the water actually leaves the leaf, the pressure deficit is like insane. So that's what they do. I think the name of the video is like trees bend the laws of physics in order to pull water up. That's it.
This discussion was very much not for me.
Sorry, Alex.
Thank you, Gabriel, for your question. If you have a question about trees, email us at arbortrarypod@gmail.com. That's ARBORTRARY pod. We want to hear from you.
We sure do.
And join us on Instagram at arbortrarypod. Same spelling, funny enough. Patreon.com/arbortrarypod. If you want to support this podcast, join the Arboretum for 2 bonus episodes a month about other related topics and trees, where you can hear the first round of the Tournament of Champion Trees.
It's very exciting, honestly.
With Tobin Mitnik.
And you get to hear my complex ways that I calculated all these things.
Boy, do you ever.
I think Gabe, who just asked this question, was like, I had no idea that we had so much math as a fungal associate. This is great. He's just stoked about it. For those of you who are interested, he's an engineer.
I see. Shout out to Gabriel. Join the Cone of the Month Club on the Patreon to get a unique die-cut cone sticker illustrated by an independent artist every month. You still have a few days of this month to join to get the Italian Cypress by Kelly Fry. It's a beautiful little cone. Check out the Instagram to see it. Casey.
Alex, this was an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, in the way that like running a marathon is an emotional roller coaster.
I guess that's just as fair. All right.
I'm very excited to take a nap. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I think that's pretty. You've earned it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've used my brain a lot today. We worked before we recorded today, which is always sounds like a great idea, Casey.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you have what seems like infinite energy, and I have whatever the opposite of that is.
finite energy.
So here at the end of our day, I am about ready to just close my eyes and let you see yourself out.
That is true. Well, I will see myself out.
See ya.
Bye. Completely Arbortrary is produced by Alex Crowson and Casey Clapp.
Our artwork is by Jillian Barthold, and our music is by Aves and the Mini Vandals.
And you can support the podcast at patreon.com/arbitrarypod.
And find additional readings at completelyarbitrary.com. Thanks for listening.